Hello and welcome to Game and Read. My name is Peter.
And I'm Erin.
And welcome to our second installment of Friday Reads.
Should we call it Friday Reads and Plays?
No.
Okie dokie.
That's just too many words. It's just Friday Reads. The plays is implied.
Fair. Friday Reads is where we talk about what we are reading and playing as we go into the weekend, and we give you a recommendation, a book and a game, sometimes other things that we think you should check out.
Seeing as this is our second episode, we are introducing a new segment to this in which we talk about the thing that we read or played this past weekend. So, Erin, tell me about The Library of Legend. You read this book, yes?
I did read this book, The Library of Legends by Janie Chang. I was not feeling awesome last week about it, and I finished it, and it was fine. I love the concept, right? Like, the whole idea is that this group of university students is traveling with the original texts with all these myths and legends, and it's set during the beginning of a Chinese-Japanese war in 1937, and it's like there's some magical realism because there's a goddess who is manifest as a servant woman. It sounded really great, but I was just not impressed with the depth. I felt like there were too many storylines, too many characters, but also nothing was deep enough for me to really feel connected to it. The magical realism element was kind of there, but then not really. It didn't really come up often. It just like came up when it was convenient or for like an explanation. It's such a bummer because I really wanted this to be a great book. So unfortunately, I'm not super pumped about Library of Legends. It was not a hard read. If you're just looking for a sort of light reading, interesting setting, maybe look into it, but not a strong recommendation for me.
Right. Well, and I think it's worth clarifying is that you're not discouraging anybody from seeking this out if they find it to be an interesting premise.
Absolutely not. I think if this sounds interesting to you, give it a shot.
You will let us know if you think somebody should avoid a book.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know, I will say I think that just because I didn't like it doesn't mean it's a bad book. And so I'll let you know when something is terrible and I think no one should read it. This is not one of those. This is a very middling, it's enjoyable, but it was not as deep and complex as I wanted it to be.
My two games that I had for last week were Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout, I think is the subhead on that, and Dreams. I'm going to say I didn't get through much of Dreams. It is a very in-depth game creation application for somebody who has no experience creating games or anything like that. So I started going through the tutorials. I was like, okay, this makes sense. And then they like kind of half set me loose, and I'm just like, I don't know what to do with all of this. And I have so far found it a little unwieldy to control. I've mostly been playing with the DualShock. I need to try it with the Move controllers and or maybe in VR to see if that helps with the creative process at all. I don't necessarily know if it will, but those are the only two options for creating what you can make fairly intricate like 3D spaces and experiences in this. So I'm very curious to see if I will be able to do this at all successfully. I played a couple of things, but I didn't really get too in depth, and I just... You know, I'm not sure if Dreams is one of those things I'm going to be really drawn to. I'm not a very creative gamer in that sense. I've never really been a big fan of, like, you know, create your map modes or doing those things where you are making your own content in the process. That's never really been my jam, although Dreams certainly seems to be a very well-made one of those. So if you're into creating stuff in games, maybe give it a shot. I will probably try and come back to it eventually. Sometime. The other one, Fall Guys, which has been having a hell of a week. It has sold a ton on Steam. It's gotten a ton of downloads through the PS Plus, and it's had a lot of server issues. This was plaguing it pretty much from the day that it launched through at least the next few days, kind of going in and out of different amounts of maintenance and being down for long stretches of time because they're just trying to get it up and running for the hundreds of thousands to millions of people who are trying to play this game. And I see why people are trying to play this game. This is a really fun, enjoyable little online battle royale.
It's the cutest, most stressful game I've played in a while.
Right.
Or I've watched in a while.
Well, and the whole premise is that you get put in a 60-person lobby, and you go through these different challenges, and people get knocked off as you go, eventually with one person winning the final challenge of about 10 people, and they are the winner of that whole game. I had pretty good luck. I won a couple, and I generally do... I get to the last couple of rounds very often. I've yet to be eliminated on the first round, which I take a lot of pride in, because sometimes it's a total crapshoot. And I enjoy the minigame design. Do I think they will need to add more over time? Yes. But I think the ones that they have there right now are mostly a lot of fun. There are a couple I'm not a big fan of. I'm not always a huge fan of the team-based ones because it's a lot harder to control and do well on like a large strategic level, and so it's kind of like, okay, I have a 1 in 3 or 1 in 2 chance of getting knocked out if my team sucks.
Right, you have to rely on everybody else also being halfway decent in order to survive a round.
Yes, well, and because a lot of them can, like, the scores can switch so quickly, sometimes you're like, oh, we have a great lead, and then 5 seconds later, oh god, we're at 0 points on this, how many tails do you have game? And then you're out because you suddenly were at, the clock ticks down to 0 and you're on bottom. So that would probably be my biggest complaint is just the team-based ones. But I don't hate them and they are fun. It's just, a bummer when you feel like you got kicked out of a match because somebody who you were randomly matched on this team just wasn't good at this one, or there's somebody who's amazing on the other side. Overall, I mean, if you have a PS4 and PS Plus, definitely give this a try because it's just there sitting for you and it's already paid for by your subscription. And if you would be playing this on Steam, I'm not sure how much it is, but if it's $20 or less, good deal. More than that, take a look at some of the videos. Maybe it's your thing, maybe it's not. But definitely a fun experience, especially for inexpensive amounts of money or paid for already. Erin, what are you going to be reading this week?
My Friday reads this week is The Boy at the Door by Alex Dahl. It is a book about these two women. One has this beautiful, wonderful family, curated, affluent life. And the other is the opposite. She's just been plagued with tragedy and she has an abusive relationship, and she's just as far as this affluent family as you can get. Well, one day a little boy gets left at the pool, and the affluent woman, Cecilia, offers to take him home. And that is the beginning of the unraveling of this beautiful life and the intersection of these two women. It is... I haven't started it. It is described as Scandi noir, like Scandinavian noir.
Oh, I thought you meant like scandalous.
Oh, well, I mean, it might also be scandalous. Like I said, I haven't started it yet. But the author, Alex Dahl, is half American, half Norwegian. So she was born in Oslo. She has a degree in Russian and German linguistics. And this is her first novel. And she wrote it while she was living in Norway. So it is a book I had on my shelf that seemed interesting. I love a good, creepy, weird mystery. The Scandinavians do great mysteries.
Is that just a reference to Stieg Larsson?
No, I actually
Okay.
have never read Stieg Larsson. Joe Nesbo is fantastic.
Oh, okay. I was curious who you were referencing because I've never heard that as like a stereotype.
Really? Oh,
you know
my
those
gosh.
Swedes and Norwegians, they love mysteries.
No, they do. There's some incredible like Swedish detective novels and Scandinavian murder mysteries. I love that kind of stuff. So this is should be good. Like I said, love a good mystery, love a good well put together person has a secret that unravels their life. Hopefully it will deliver. I will let y'all know if it does or doesn't. So that's my Friday reads. That's The Boy at the Door by Alex Dahl. Peter, what are you going to be playing this weekend?
All right. So I was trying to take a look because I want to keep things fresh and always be, maybe not doing deep dives on these weekly things because most of my deep dives I save up for specifically are pairings because we're playing a lot of games. And boy, the games we have coming up will be taking a lot of my time. I'm not going to say what they are yet for September and October, but I'm looking for something light and fun and a little cheery. So I'm going to be playing Katamari Damacy Reroll on the Nintendo Switch. This is a remaster of the, I think, about 2006, 2007 game Katamari Damacy, maybe a little bit earlier than that, which is a game in which you are a little alien prince. Your dad is the king of space, or king of the cosmos.
King of the cosmos, baby.
And he's also kind of I'm going to call him a abusive but humorous father.
He is like the biggest asshole who sometimes tells a funny joke.
Right. And he commands you to make Katamaris, which are these balls of stuff that he can turn into various planets and stars and other things, because I believe he gets drunk and accidentally destroys the universe or something along the lines of that. And so you are placed in these different kind of sets, and you just have this little ball, and you push it into the various items you see, and then they get stuck to your ball, and you keep making it bigger and bigger and bigger. Eventually, you start swallowing up whole towns and cars at a time. And it's just a very fun and simple game. It's played out in levels, so each one is kind of discrete to itself, and you can replay them over and over again, try and get a higher score. The music is very fun. It's a very cute aesthetic of kind of simple-ish polygons for the time. And it looks really nice on, the remaster of just like big, bright colors and a very cute classic character of the little space prince. So I'll be playing that because I need to stay positive in the face of the looming intensity that is coming for me in the September pairing. Mysteries abound as to what it could be. Only Erin, myself, and our guests know what it is.
Dun, dun, dun.
Recommendations. We do them. We pick things, and we recommend that you try and play or read them for the specific time period we're in. And Erin, I want to know what yours is for this week.
Okay. I am going to apologize in advance that this recommendation I have.
We do not accept. On behalf of me and our audience, we don't accept this for apology.
This recommendation I have is maybe a little macabre for the current times. But I love this book, and so I want to
prefer
recommend
macaws. Do you have something about a big bird?
There is a bird on the cover of this book,
Okay.
actually. It's not a macaw, it's a flamingo.
Close enough.
So my recommendation this week is Mostly Dead Things by Kristen Arnett. I picked this for the potentially creepy, maybe poor taste reason that it is set in Florida, and Florida is in the news a lot because guess what? They don't know how to wear masks and stay apart from each other, and they are governed by terrible people. So they've been in the news. Florida's been around.
Tell us how you really feel.
But it did make me think of this book, Mostly Dead Things. It is about a woman who is a taxidermist. She has taken over the family business. She and her family are pretty like low middle class, and it's about her living as a outsider in her own world. So she's in the town she grew up in, runs the family business, but she is, she's depressed, and she is trying to navigate the world and figure out some sort of purpose and some sort of joy. Is there joy? Her mom makes inappropriate taxidermy scenes with the taxidermied animals, involving strap-ons and lingerie and various sexual positions between different species of taxidermied animals. So she's coping with that. She's coping with her brother. It's not, I would say, a happy book, but it is a fantastic one. Kristen Arnett is a fabulous writer. Her just prose is really great, and it's really raw, and I really loved it. It was definitely something that stuck with me for a long time after I finished it. This is Kristen Arnett's debut novel, and she is from Florida. She drew on her own sort of life experience for this book, and I just think it's a really fantastic story. Really, really good sort of slice of life kind of narrative. So that is my recommendation this week. It is Mostly Dead Things by Kristen Arnett.
My recommendation for this week is based on something I've been watching a lot lately. I have been going through the Hunter x Hunter anime series from 2011, adaptation of the long-running, or somewhat long-running manga series Hunter x Hunter. It's taken some hiatuses. I started watching this just a few weeks ago because I saw some people on Twitter talking about it, so I gave it a shot. I've been enjoying it a whole lot. It is a very fun shonen anime that kind of runs through a lot of the different tropes of shonen anime, but it does it, I'm going to say, fairly well. It's got some enjoyable characters in it. It is created by Yoshihiro Tagashi, who is also the creator of Yu Yu Hakusho, a very well-beloved anime from the late 80s, early 90s. And it's just been a lot of fun going through it. It's on Netflix. It's on Funimation. You can read the manga on Shonen Jump. I really recommend it if you're into just kind of fun shonen anime that get a little less serious, I would say, than, say, like a Naruto. It takes a step down. It's kind of a nice middling level of there's serious fights and stuff, but also just kind of ridiculous powers, and you don't really need to worry about it all that much as they try and explain how the world's magic works. The second thing I'm going to be recommending, I can't actually recommend because it is unavailable to play, and this is the 10-year anniversary of the release of the Scott Pilgrim vs. the World video game, which came out back in 2010 on the PS3 and Xbox 360. That one. It was a side-scrolling beat-em-up, kind of in the style of Double Dragon, but done really cute and well animated and great pixel art, and it had a wonderful soundtrack by Anamanaguchi, the chiptune band, and it is a fun 1-to-4 player just side-scrolling brawler. And if you enjoyed that movie or you enjoyed those books, it is really fun to play through. Unfortunately, it was delisted in 2014, so it's been unavailable for purchase or even re-downloading for the past 6 years. I know I still have it installed on my PS3, so I might be pulling it up and trying to play through some of it, but it is sadly unavailable to the world. There has been a very recent push by the creator of Scott Pilgrim, Brian Lee O'Malley, as well as the band Anamanaguchi, as well as a lot of other fans, saying, hey, Ubisoft, could you please re-release this? It'd be really great. There hasn't been any announcement as of, this recording on Wednesday, but hopefully it will become available somewhere in the not too distant future, because it really is a pretty enjoyable game, especially, and it's so rare to see like a good video game adaptation that is just enjoyable if you already like that, piece of media.
That's all we have for this week's Friday Reads episode. We'll be back next week with updates, new reads, new games, new recs. You can find everything we do at gameandread.wordpress.com, and you can listen to us on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you can listen to podcasts.
You can find us on social media. We do have a Game and Read Instagram, as well as my Twitter is at NerdInTheWorld.
And I am on Twitter at BookishTextPat and Instagram at A Tale of Two Shelves.
Our intro music is written and performed by Avery Murchison. There's a link to his Bandcamp in the episode description.
Thanks for listening.
We'll see you next time.
Game and